Dear students, welcome to the next lecture of electrical measurement. So, in the last lecture, we had discussed the Kelvin's double bridge method for the measurement of low resistance. Okay. Now, we have to discuss about the certain other type of bridge circuits as well, which are used for the measurement of the other parameters like inductance and capacitance. But before that, uh, we have to discuss the basic type of an AC bridge. Okay, because the last type of bridge circuit which we had seen, that is the Kelvin's double bridge, that was primarily based on the you can say the DC form of Wheatstone bridge or DC bridge. Okay, so all the types of bridges that are used for the measurement of inductance or capacitance, they are actually AC bridges. Okay, so before discussing the bridges for inductance and capacitance measurement, we can just have a quick look at the basic operation of an AC bridge. Okay, so in its basic form, let me just draw an AC bridge. Now this is a form of AC bridge. Let me call the impedances as Z1, okay, and Z2, Z3 and Z4. So these are four impedances of this branch. This is Z4. Okay, this is a detector which is being placed in between the arms. Okay, suppose the voltage across this branch is E1, this is E3. Okay, then this is E2 and this is E4. So overall, we can just say that the AC bridge is just you can say natural extension of the DC bridge, and in its basic form it just consists of four different bridge arms which you are able to see here, 1 2 3 4, a source of excitation which is the AC source here in this case, and a null detector which is being placed in this branch. Okay, so whatever be the power source which is being applied here, this supplies an AC voltage to the bridge at the desired frequencies. Okay, so the null detector which you place in between this circuit, it must respond to the AC unbalanced currents, and okay, so the basic operation will remain same as that we had discussed in case of Wheatstone bridge. As in the Wheatstone bridge, we just had seen that for DC measurements, the balance condition similar to the Wheatstone bridge, if we talk about the AC bridge, then similar to the Wheatstone bridge, the balance condition in this AC bridge will be reached when the detector response will be 0. Okay, or you can say that when this detector will indicate the null deflection, then we can say that the balance condition has been reached. Okay, so the balance condition can just be written in this form. Okay, so let's suppose that if these are the impedances of four different branch. Okay, so the first condition of achieving the balance is that the magnitudes of the impedances should satisfy this relationship. Okay, that is the product of the magnitudes of the opposite arms must be equal. So if Z1 is the impedance of this branch and Z4 is the impedance of the branch which is opposite to Z1, so the product of this Z1 and Z4 should be equal to Z2 and Z3, and at the same time the sum of the phase angles of the opposite arms must also be equal. Okay, so these are actually complex quantities, so they will involve both magnitude as well as phase. Now having discussed this much, let us move on to the first type of bridge which is used for the measurement of inductance. Okay, and that is called the Maxwell's bridge or Maxwell's inductance bridge, whatever you may want to call it. Now first of all, let us just draw its circuit. Okay, let us just place a detector. So here is the detector, and let us connect the AC source in this circuit. Okay, this is R1, L1, R3, this is R4, this is variable resistance R2, and this is L2, and this is R2. Okay, so now this is the arrangement of the Maxwell's inductance bridge. Now this branch which you are seeing here, that is this branch, this is actually a form of a coil, and this inductance have to be determined, this L1. Okay, so you can say that this is the unknown parameters which you have to evaluate. Okay, so this inductance will also have certain resistance, so both things will come from here, L1 and R1. Okay, so L1, you can say L1 is the unknown inductance of resistance R2. Okay, so R2 is its or this is R1, I am sorry, this is R1. So L1 is the unknown inductance having the resistance R1. Similarly, this L2 can be an inductance or fixed inductance or variable inductance of fixed resistance R2. This is small r2 which we are seeing here. So inductance of fixed resistance small r2 Okay, this capital R2 which we are seeing here, that is this is the variable resistance which is connected in series. So this is a variable resistance, and R3 and R4, they are known resistors. Okay, so that means that their values are already known to us. Okay, so now we have to derive the conditions for the balance, you can say, condition of this bridge. So we have just seen in the previous slide the balance conditions in case of an AC bridge. So obviously let me just write down here. So at balance, at balance, Z1 Z4 should be equal to Z2 Z3. Now Z1 branch, the impedance of Z1 branch can be written in this form: R1 plus J omega L1. Z4 consists of only resistance, so it will be R4. Similarly, Z2 will be this R2 plus this small resistance R2 plus J omega L2 and multiplied by R3. So if you just equate the real and imaginary parts separately of this equation, so evaluating real and imaginary parts, what we will get? We will get R1 R4, I think it should be equal to this R2 plus a small R2 multiplied by R3, or from here we should get the value of R1 as R3 by R4, R2 by R2. Okay, and similarly if we just equate the imaginary parts, so we should get J omega L1 R4 equals to J omega L2 R3, or from here we should get the value of L1 to be equal to R3 by R4 times L2. Okay, so just by equating the real and imaginary parts, you get the value of this R1 and L1. So these were the unknown parameters of this bridge which you have to evaluate. Okay, so in this way, just by changing certain parameters, okay, you can obtain the balance conditions. Okay, so generally these resistances, these R3 and this R4, okay, so they are generally you can say a selection of values from maybe 100,000, 10,000 ohm. Okay, and this is small R2, it's a decayed resistance box. So just by varying the parameters, we can obtain the balance condition, and in this way this R1 and L1 will be determined. Now this is one of the forms of Maxwell's bridge. Sometimes there is one other form also of this Maxwell's bridge. So just to differentiate, we can just call this as Maxwell's inductance capacitance bridge. So the previous one was Maxwell's inductance bridge. This type of bridge, which we just will see, uh, can be called as Maxwell's inductance capacitance bridge. Okay, so this is you can say a modified form of the Maxwell's bridge. So let me just first of all draw the circuit. So this is R1, L1, this is R2, this is capacitance C4, this is R4. Okay, suppose the current flowing here is I1. Let me just place a detector first. So this is I1, this is I2, this is IR. Okay, and let us place a source in this circuit. So this is a AC source. Okay, so now since this bridge involves a capacitor, an additional capacitor in this circuit, that's why it can be called as Maxwell's inductance capacitance bridge. Okay, so it will just determine the value of inductance by comparing it with a capacitance. So now again this part will be the unknown part, that is this part. Okay, this will be the unknown part, that means R1 and L1, they have to be determined. Okay, so although this has been shown separately, that is R1 and N1, but sometime when we connect the practical circuit, we'll just use a single coil in this place. So we will just connect that coil between these two points. Okay, so that coil will contain the inductance as well as resistance. Okay, so now we can just write their balance equation. Okay, just by following the basic steps which you have to do for obtaining the balance in case of an AC bridge. So let us try to write the balance equation. So it will be R1 plus j omega L1, this is R4 over 1 plus j omega C4 R4 equals to R2 R3, or this will be R1 R4 plus j omega L1 R4 equals to R2 R3 plus j omega R2 R3 C4 R4. So just again by separating the real and imaginary terms, you can get the value of R1 as R2 equals to R3 R2 R3 over R4, and L1 can be R2 R3, this is C4 So this is C4. Okay, so that means we can have two variables, that is this is one of the variable and this is the other variable, that is R4 and C4. So these variables, they appear in one of the two balance equations. Okay, so similar to the previous case, this R3 and R4, they are actually known values of resistance. So this in this circuit, this R2 is also known. Okay, so only this is unknown, that is R1 and L1, and R2, R3 and R4, these are known values of resistance, and C4 is the variable capacitor. Okay, now you can also try to draw the phasor diagram for this Maxwell's bridge. Let us just draw. Let's suppose you take this as a reference, that is I1, so this will be I1 R1, this is I1 omega L1. Okay, this is E2 equals to I2 R2. So I2 will be in this direction only, this will be I2. Similarly, if this is IR, so this IR plus this I2 or you can say the phasor sum of this current IC and IR will be this I2. Okay, this is the resultant with the I2 which you are seeing here. Okay, similarly, if let us call this as I3, so the phasor sum of this E2 and this E3 will be total voltage. So this will be just drawn in this form, so this will be your A. Okay, so you can also just try to draw the phasor diagram for it. Now there is one factor which is called the Q factor. So the Q factor can just be denoted as omega L1 over R1, which is also equals to omega C4 R4. So this is also called Q factor, quality factor. Okay, so this just describes the effective you can say storage capability of a coil. Okay, or effectiveness of a coil, you can also say. Okay, so this Maxwell's bridge which we had just discussed, it is used for the measurement of medium Q coils. Okay, and by saying medium Q coils, we generally mean that it is having the Q factor in between 1 and 10. So for those coils only for which the Q factor is in this range, we can take help of the Maxwell's bridge for finding out the inductance of this coil. Actually, the usual procedure for balancing this Maxwell's bridge is just by first adjusting the R2 for inductive balance, and then we adjust R4 for resistive balance. Okay, so this is the usual procedure. So for medium Q coils, we can just use this Maxwell's bridge. So the for coils having the low Q factor, that is Q less than 1, this cannot be used, this bridge, because of the balance convergence problem. So for low Q coils there is balance convergence problems that arise. Balance convergence problem mean that balance is usually difficult to achieve, or you can say the convergence is slow. Okay, so just as I discussed that the uh, what is the usual procedure of balancing the Maxwell's bridge, that is you first adjust R2 for inductive balance and then adjust R4 in this circuit, you can say, you can see. Okay, so you first adjust R2 for inductive balance, and then you just go to the R4 for resistive balance. That is, by adjusting this R4 you can have resistive balance. So if you just return to R2 adjustment, so you will find that the resistive balance is being disturbed and it moves to a new value. Okay, so this process is repeated, and in this way it gives slow convergence to final balance. Okay, so that is why in low Q factor coils generally this problem arises. In medium Q coils this effect is not generally there, and the balance is usually reached quickly. Okay, so that is why this point is important, that it can only be used for medium Q factor coils, and it cannot be used for low Q values because of the balance convergence problem. Okay, so because as we can see from the unknown parameters equation, okay, that is R1 and L1, that is adjustment for the inductive balance by R2, it will just upset the resistive balance, okay, by R4. Okay, so in this balance equation you can see, so this is actually a special type of effect which is known as the sliding balance. So the balance is not steady at one place. So in this way this is these you can say are the bridges which can be used for the measurement of the inductance of a coil. Okay, so this is all with this lecture, and in the next lecture we'll try to discuss some more bridge circuits which are there for inductance measurement. Okay, Anderson bridge is there, Hayes bridge is there, so we have also to discuss those bridges as well. So this is all for today. Thank you very much.